Hello, I'm Nathan, your friendly neighborhood trance worker, and welcome to day 7 in our 22 Days of Trance Work series. I'm so happy that you decided to join us for this, whether you're watching it live or as a recording. I'm very happy to have you present with us. I do encourage engagement, so always feel free to put some questions or comments, and I'll do my best to respond to them. So, welcome. Thank you. Hi. So let's talk about higher self. There are a lot of jokes that are often made about higher self, but when we talk about higher self, we're talking about the consciousness that we access when we go into trance states. The higher self is a more reserved, relaxed, aware, peaceful aspect of our consciousness. Further to that, though, there is a deeper meaning to this concept of the higher self. In Akashic Trancework, we have a very simplified model of higher self and lower self. We talk about the higher self sometimes as being represented by the upper 3 chakras: the throat chakra, the center of expression; the third eye chakra, the center of visualization, spiritual connection, and creativity; and the crown chakra. The crown chakra connects us to the divine energies, to our eternal self, our guides, our ancestors, and all of those things, beings that exist outside of our physical selves. The lower self, by contrast, is our body, our lower chakras, our solar plexus, our sacral chakra, and our root chakra. And the heart chakra is what ties everything together. And that's why we focus so much on centering in Akashic trance work, because that is what allows the higher self and the lower self to communicate and connect. The chakra system is only one way to look at this. You can look at this paradigm of higher self and lower self in a number of different ways. You can even look at the evolution of the brain and see that we have 3 brains. We have the neocortex, the gray matter, where most of our processing and higher consciousness takes place. And then we have this midbrain, which is represented by the mammalian limbic system, where all of our symbolic and information processing happens. And then we have the reptilian brain, or the reptile brain, which is our autonomic nervous system. And that autonomic nervous system, that reptile brain, is where most of our conditioning lives. So as we move forward into our process, into trance work, we'll be going into this process of release. We call it release work. And a lot of that has to do with rewiring the lower self, rewiring that reptilian consciousness to try and find more effective ways to survive and thrive. We all have this within us. We all have this animal self, this survival mind. And all of us have conditions that we've inherited from our ancestors and from things we've experienced in our own lifetimes that largely dictate our behaviors, our habits, our compulsive and impulsive behaviors. So in order to change any of that, we need to connect with that higher self intelligence that kind of guides the lower self. There's a kind of parable, a story that I came up with that I like to use that really well, to me, kind of illustrates this relationship between the lower self, the higher self, and the heart mind. The heart is where everything comes together. The heart is what is unique to our human mammalian evolution. We connect in Akashic trance work the heart to the limbic system. The limbic system is where all of your information encoding happens. It's where memory is encoded. It's where your hormones are produced. It's also where your symbolic subconscious communication happens. If we look at the heart mind as being a sort of mediator between lower and higher self, then this parable I'm about to share with you will make more sense. So just kind of imagine with me, this is just a story. Once upon a time, there was this alien floating around in space without a body, a higher dimensional alien being who loved to create complex spiritual, metaphysical constructs in higher dimensions of being. This being really loved to explore and experience, but everything that this being created tended to be blown away at the slightest energy fluctuation. So this being felt a bit of frustration because nothing it created had any permanence. It didn't really ever experience satisfaction. It didn't really ever experience what we call, well, experience. There was no progression from one point of time to another, from A to B to C. That's how satisfaction is experienced. And this being could never experience this because it lived outside of time. So this alien one day comes down to Earth and it sees a very curious thing. A crocodile floating down a river surrounded by all kinds of snakes and piranhas. And on the back of this crocodile is a small ape. And this ape is trying its very best to stay on this crocodile and steer it so that it doesn't fall off. Now, this crocodile is roaring and lashing and trying to get the ape off of its back. And the ape is howling and beating on this crocodile's back, trying to get it to go in the direction it wants it to go. This relationship between the ape and the crocodile is very tenuous. So this alien, this higher dimensional being, who's just a tiny little thing, comes down and rests on the shoulder of this ape. It begins to whisper in this ape's ear, and it says, hey, maybe if instead of trying to yell at and beat on this crocodile, what if you fed it and stroked it and nurtured it and nourished it? So this crocodile, who is moving all over the place, is a very powerful being, and it really is the one that's in charge. And this ape is doing its very best to just try and stay on its back. So this ape decides, why not? Let me try. So the ape reaches down, grabs a fish, feeds it to the crocodile, begins to stroke it on its head, gently whispering. And lo and behold, the crocodile begins to calm down and move in the direction that the ape is guiding it towards. This works very well. And so these three beings decide to work together. The crocodile is guided by this ape because otherwise the crocodile just kind of goes wherever nature takes it. The ape can take it to places, to food, to experiences, to pleasure that maybe it never experienced before. And this crocodile offers protection and strength to the ape. And this alien offers guidance to the ape. Advice in a very quiet voice. So this parable represents very well how our minds and bodies and hearts work together. The crocodile is the lower self, the ape is the heart mind, and the alien is the higher self. I actually have a picture of this that one of our clients did for us, and it's really, really cool because it illustrates this concept in almost a totem pole kind of form. It's very cool. So if we understand this relationship, that the heart is there to mediate between the lower self and the higher self, then we can understand how important it is to center it. We can also understand that this is where we go. This heart mind is where we go to connect with both lower and higher self and to establish that relationship. Many people have a level of conflict between their higher and lower selves. They know they should be doing things in a certain way, but their instincts, their compulsions, their impulses tend to dictate their behaviors. So they don't often or always listen to the advice of that alien, that higher self, whose voice is very quiet. This ape mind, this heart mind, is very passionate, very intense, and also experiences all the emotions, right? That's the emotional center, the good and the bad. That reptile doesn't really experience any emotions. The higher self also is not that emotional, it's very detached. But that heart mind, that ape mind, is very, very passionate, very emotional. So if we understand that this is how our brains have evolved from this simple reptilian form all the way up to this complex, abstract, alien consciousness, we see that the heart is the bridge and the portal to resolving the conflicts that we sometimes find between that eternal higher self and the temporary lower self. If we take this further, we begin to understand that this higher self is actually that eternal part of ourselves. The higher self is the soul that transmigrates between bodies. Whether or not you believe in reincarnation, that's up to you. I've had enough experiences myself, and I've taken a lot of people through past life regression and done Akashic record readings. So I do believe that we've transmigrated from body to body, from world to world, from dimension to dimension, across space and time. But even if you don't believe that, it can be helpful, in fact, very useful, to understand how these different parts of the body, the mind, and the heart interact together. So, thank you for taking some time to listen to me. I try not to spend too much time just going on and on about these things. What I would like to do now is take you back into that heart center, which is where we have gone. If you've been following along with these lessons, then hopefully by now you know how to ground and center and set astral boundaries so that you can protect your heart center from any intrusive energies that might come through. So this lesson, this guided journey that I'm about to take you on, will expand on those concepts. All of the lessons that we do will always expand on the previous ones. So if you haven't watched those, you can still try your best to follow along. We do have all of the previous workshops available on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel. The Facebook page is Akashic Trancework, the YouTube channel, Alchemical Child. So you can view all the previous lessons there. This one will be available on there too soon. So let's go ahead, take some time to connect with ourselves. So if you're in a place where you can do this, I invite you to just find a comfortable, relaxed position. You can lay down, you can sit up. I recommend having good back and neck support. And first, take some nice, deep breaths. Deep belly breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. Feeling connected to your body, feeling connected to the earth beneath you, feeling connected to all the living and growing things all around you. Now, I invite you to take some time to imagine yourself in your heart space. This is the beginning of all inner journeys, your heart temple. This place is a vibrant, living place, a place of flowing energy, green energy. You may wish to see yourself there, to see yourself in a natural, flowing place with all of those things that you love: people, the plants, animals, foods, objects, all the things that bring you joy. And if you find anything arising that's uncomfortable in this place, you can just set that aside for the moment, because right now, you are centering into your heart. Put your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat as you breathe. And bring in some energies or things that you are grateful for, the things that fill you full of love. Take some time to really center into that place. Smile. Allow a wave of peace to move across your entire body in a tingling wave of energy. Releasing any tension in your body. Just letting it go. Just letting it go. This is a special place, you know. This is where you can connect with your guides. It's not up to me to tell you who and what your guides could be. A guide can be almost anything or anyone. And I invite you to call upon your guides now. Could be an ancestor or a loved one who comes in. Could be an animal, even a pet. Could be a god or a goddess, an angel, an ascended master. It could be any of these beings or all of these beings all at once. You decide what guides you wish to call in, or just open yourself to receiving the guides who naturally arrive for you. Greet them now with gratitude and love. Take some time to really connect with them, to thank them for coming into this space, to thank them for being there for you, for supporting you, for loving you, for nourishing and nurturing you. Just take some nice deep breaths as you experience these energies, these nourishing energies. And now, I would like you to call upon a very, very special being, a very special part of yourself, that eternal higher self awareness, because beneath all of the conditioning, beneath your body, beneath your mind, beneath your identity, beneath your name, beneath all of your memories, there is the eternal, unconditioned you who observes, who advises, who guides your higher self awareness. And I invite you now to call upon your higher self. Oh, dear one, I connect with you now in this space. Oh, eternal brothers and sisters, let us now come to this heart space together and connect with that deeper knowing, because now there is an important question to be asked. A very important question. Listen carefully and answer this question for yourself in the best way you know. Ask your higher self, what do you need to focus your energy on most? What will bring you thriving, abundance, joy. What changes do you need to make? And take some time to receive what your higher self has to tell you. Your higher self can only speak truth. You may question or second guess what you receive. That's normal. Just allow it to come through. You can analyze it later. You can decide if it's true later. But for now, just receive that knowledge, that information. May come in many different forms. You might receive words or sentences, but you also may receive visions. You may receive colors or lights. You might get different sensations in your body, tingling or twitches. It's all normal. Your higher self is attempting to communicate with you right now. Are you open to this conversation? Are you open to this connection? Your higher self has been guiding you all along. In fact, your higher self chose to come here in these conditions, in this time and space, in this exact moment, and every other moment that you've lived. Your higher self put you there to learn something. And now it's time to establish a relationship, to invite that higher self voice in, to give you the guidance, to give you the knowledge, and to allow you to thrive, to live in joy, to live wholeheartedly. That's what higher self wants. How can you actualize this? How can you activate this higher self awareness? It's very different for everyone. It's up to you to decide, to discern, to receive your higher self guidance. Take some time to breathe into that. And those of you who have watched up to this point, I am now going to call upon my higher self to offer your higher self an attunement, a light language attunement. You can choose if you would like to receive this or not, but this will help your higher self to be more grounded into your heart space, to connect more effectively with your lower self, and have more clear connection overall with the divine source. So sit back and relax and breathe and receive this attunement. Ahinoru senu hinare are zai ha he se ahiru nai ashirandru wa esare wa hiru anshearu Nanrewa He Chandrewa Serwa We Shundrawa We Shundra Osara We Shunare Shundrawa Serwa She Nura Wandru Maserawa Ushandra Maleru Dandra We Orawa We Nundra We Sarwa She Nandrawa Lundra We Asio undo e hawi a he nara one saru shai nara one sare sharu e no andru he ara andru sade shundra wase he nura one sha undra wase hu sha we undra Haina ina reondra mazira nungrawinu. My higher self, thanks your higher self for opening to and receiving this connection. So you can take a moment to breathe, center back to your heart, bring your consciousness fully back to a waking state, the feeling of peace and joy radiating out from your heart center to all the beings in the universe. And I want to thank all of you from my deepest heart for joining us, for experiencing today. We'll be moving in, if you keep following along with these lessons, to a place of release. We'll be using this higher self-awareness to compassionately and lovingly clear away some of the densities that the lower self has accumulated across time. We will be starting a 9-week intensive workshop series here in about 6 days. You're welcome, Angela. Thank you for being here. So in about 6 days, we'll be starting this intensive workshop series. So if you want to dive in and really get a sense of what we're doing and how we're doing it, in a series of 2-hour workshops with associated materials, guided journeys, scripts, more, a lot more, reach out to us, let us know. We'd be happy to have you on board for that. So thank you again. And finally, for those of you who have watched to this point, I would like to offer a free 20-minute session with me to go through some of these practices or get a channeled reading from me or just a talk. I'm happy to just talk too. So if you would like that, reach out to me. We'll get that set up. So until tomorrow, deepest love, deepest blessings, deepest gratitude. Thank you.